अभी आपको पूरे वर्ल्ड में कहीं मौका मिले हेलीकॉप्टर फ्लाई करने का, so where would it be in the entire world that you love to fly?
It will probably be in Iceland, maybe flying over some volcano.
Volcano, all right, not the snow.
Covered half with ice, but a volcano in between.
Oh wow, that's too much of an ask, but let's see if is it possible?
Yeah, people do that. There are tours conducted there.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I've never heard of. Okay, the last one myth about pilots which you would like to bust. कोई ऐसी myth है जो हम
पढ़ना नहीं पड़ता.
So welcome back, Captain Purva. And let's now enter into the drone applications technology. और drone आपने बहुत सुना होगा, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर, Russia taking drones, India taking drones, manufacturing drones. So let's see and unfold drones का future क्या है हमारे इंडिया में. Okay, so moving on, before we enter into quick rapid fire round, so let me put this question about drones. So मैंने देखा है drones आजकल household items बन रहे, बहुत सारे ऐसे काम हैं. The simplest work is the videography, of course, जो हमें पता है. So how do you compare flight principles? Okay, let's not go to the principle. First हम applications की बात करते हैं. So in your knowledge, आपको क्या लगता है drones की क्या applications है? क्या ये common man के लिए कोई काम की चीज है या it's high up the technical ladder?
नहीं, we can see today, just by watching the news,
Okay,
that the kind of applications that drones have come into are actually more applicable for the common man.
okay.
Agriculture is seeing a lot of boost in this, and I mean there are other fields also. It's not yet. I would say that the drone technology in India is still maturing. It has not come to a stage where we could call it mature, but with the boost that the government is providing and the number of players that are there in the industry, drone technology is very, very dynamic in India presently, and there are drones coming in for applications which are sometimes completely unheard of also. A simple application, like cleaning commercial buildings from outside.
Oh really? It is possible with drones?
It is possible with drones. It has been done in certain countries.
Wow.
And India is, I believe there are certain firms in India also which are exploring that option.
Okay, great.
And this is using made in India drones. So that is why they are trying to kind of reinvent the technology in India.
All right.
Videography has obviously been the primary mainstay of the drone industry, and probably from where the income for the drone industry is being generated. And I think second is now agriculture. And इसके अलावा बहुत छोटे-छोटे utilities आ रहे हैं जो बहुत ही you could say they are very specific to certain
and just to add on to your bucket list, अभी मैंने देखा कि 3,000 crores I think has been sanctioned to be invested by Prime Minister Modi into drone technology research and etc. Then I saw a video on Instagram जहाँ पे एक I think mountainous region में कोई बाढ़ आई थी और वहाँ पे ड्रोन को यूज करके they lifted a boy and saved his life. तो क्या ड्रोन इतना वेट उठा सकती है?
That totally depends on the
capacity of
the drone.
But it is
increasing its size.
Yeah.
Though there is a confluence of or contradiction of interest when you keep increasing the drones ka size. So there are already helicopters to do that job.
Yeah.
And abhi tak we have not reached a stage where drones have become so large. Because obviously when you most of the drones are electrically operated, they are not based on
fuel and
turboshaft engines or IC engines or piston engines. So when you increase the scale, then obviously we don't know what will be better efficient. See, we are facing a similar kind of contradiction in the car industry today.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Where EV versus petrol cars or diesel cars. There are certain conflicting. These days EV cars have reached equivalent power to fuel cars.
Absolutely.
They may not be competing with racing cars, but at least in the normal commercial sector they have reached that space. So probably if down the line in future the drones would also come to a stage where the capacity, payload and the power generated would probably be in conflict with what a small helicopter is providing. At that stage the industry will itself decide what is more feasible.
Okay.
तो ये अभी बात की बात है. अभी तो हम उसी phase से गुजर रहे हैं where the drones are maturing. There are a lot of regulatory hurdles which are being faced. Drones have also become a nuisance to people also in certain ways. And a couple of days ago, I heard of a new application. Somebody wanted to paint a tall pillar using a drone.
Wow, paint a tall pillar.
Yeah, so
drone ke use karke.
Similar to how you spray water from a drone. Somebody wanted to attach a nozzle to do spray painting.
ये मेरे लिए भी कुछ नया है.
Because the pillar was probably taller and it was, it becomes easier with a drone. The risk of life reduces and the cost of labor also reduces. So ऐसे unique kind of requirements आती जा रही हैं, and this is what is probably uplifting the drone industry to innovate and scale up and mature in our country.
Wow, that's really interesting insights you're bringing. So now, especially for those young India, the students, the college students or STEM students, तो उनके लिए कुछ बात कर लेते हैं. So let's say somebody wants to make a career in maybe drone or aerodynamics. So I know science plays a vital role. So how does those people should go about it? कि students को ऐसा क्या करना चाहिए? I know knowledge बढ़ाना चाहिए first of all. So where do you start with?
See, initially when drones came into existence or commercially probably about a decade ago, they were quite simple. The simple quad rotor drone. You did not have aerodynamics background to get into that. But today, maybe with the advances that are happening, with the complexities that are coming into drones, with the requirements that the industry is giving to increase payload of the drones, it is arguable that you could have aerodynamics. You should have an aerodynamics background to maybe improve the drone standards, especially if you are getting into the R&D side of it.
Okay, and I think I can add some value to it since I being a drone pilot. So I have seen a lot of the best thing that I saw that it requires a class 10th pass certificate to enter into a drone pilot course or anything or engineering. You don't need a hardcore engineering background first of all. And next, अगर मैं simple careers की बात करूँ, so videography from simple to complex, and then we talk about applications तो और surveillance के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा use होते हैं. Then we need pilots to train other pilots, co-pilots. So ऐसे कुछ trainers की ज़रूरत होती है. And so all in all, I have seen कि drone can become a career option for those who are really interested in aerodynamics and also who cannot afford to spend much time, efforts on learning aerodynamics, going into helicopters and being commercial pilot. Do you see any contradiction here?
That is one possible argument. But as I said, the complexity of drones is also increasing day by day. And we in our country, although there is a large drone industry, we are still technologically not at par with the worldwide industry. So first of all, to reach that stage, we are probably a decade or 1.5 decade behind them.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, we need to reach to that stage. And then subsequently, if we are looking into R&D, into improving it and increasing complexity, you would require to study. You can't do it without getting into the details.
That means there are no shortcuts. That is what we want.
Exactly, there are no shortcuts. Yes, you can get a drone pilot job with a simple course. It's not that difficult. But if you are interested in developing drones, then it's a different ball game altogether.
So let me tell you, there are कोई shortcuts नहीं है. So आपको सीखना तो पड़ेगा ही, whether you opt for drones, helicopters, or the aircraft that we see here. All right. So now entering into something really interesting about rapid fire. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a few interesting questions coming up. So you can answer in one line, one word. What do you feel like? Okay. And absolutely, this is for the audience to know him much better, and along with Satviki Innovations. Okay. So the first question: helicopters or drone?
Helicopters.
Okay. Since being a commercial pilot. Okay. So I've heard Air Force में, Naval officers में, there are nicknames. So do you have any nickname?
I was generally called by my surname. So Mehta was my nickname.
So Captain Mehta, is that?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, eh, can you think of any movie that got aviation right?
Not
Right
not
now.
not really, because most movies show you only the luxury side of aviation,
Yeah,
and
not the
aviation
pain
has
points.
aviation has a lot of effort into it.
Okay, interesting. So now next is strangest object जो आपने देखा हो कि एयर से कैरी किया गया हो.
Once I carried a 200 kg heavy plumbing pipe.
Plumbing pipe.
Yeah.
With helicopter.
With a helicopter.
Oh wow.
It was weighing around 200 kgs. It was just a single piece of pipe about 2 feet long. And मैंने इससे पहले कभी इतनी भारी पाइप नहीं देखी थी, क्योंकि उसको नहीं तो ले जाने के लिए
ट्रक या बड़ी ट्रक चाहिए.
बड़ी ट्रक तो नहीं, it was small, it was not.
अच्छा, but the weight was.
हाँ, it was just हमारे as you know as tall as my calf.
Oh, bus.
But it was solid. But it was solid, and it weighed about 200 kgs. Okay. It was actually a concern, because most aircrafts have a upper limit to floor loading.
Okay.
So the loading of that pipe was at the limit for that aircraft floor. So that's the strangest kind of object that I have carried.
Interesting. So you have done logistics also in commercial pilots. Okay. So now next thing for you, कोई एक ऐसी gadget है जिसके बिना आप रह नहीं सकते हो आजकल?
I think my watch.
Watch. So tell us something about your watch. कि watch तो मेरे पास भी है. I know that's not technical इतना. What's special there?
So I've got a Garmin diving watch. The good thing that I like about it is that it gives me a lot of health related details.
Okay.
Which if you perceive it in the long run can be quite fruitful to you. मतलब कभी-कभी लगता है that I don't need a medical test at all.
Oh, really? Is that technical?
Yeah, it is.
With accuracy.
I have actually learned a lot of new medical technical terms because of my watch.
Okay, and as far as I know from our conversation, it shows you the altitude also and the depth of water.
Those are these days those are quite basic features of having a barometer. They call it a triple sensor, you know, barometer. Casio came out with the G-Shock some, I think, 15 years ago with a triple sensor terminology. So it used to have a barometer, a compass, and an altimeter, and a temperature thermometer.
Okay.
So those three sensors are there in almost every watch. Other than that, somehow my watch has the capacity to measure, my heart rate variability also.
Oh wow, that's great. So it measures height, भी measure कर लेता है, depth of sea also. Oh,
yes,
wow. That's nice. So okay, so two more questions before we wrap up this section. So the next question coming up is, अगर अभी आपको पूरे वर्ल्ड में कहीं मौका मिले helicopter fly करने का, so where would it be in the entire world that you love to fly?
It will probably be in Iceland, maybe flying over some volcano.
Volcano. All right, not the snow.
Covered half with ice, but a volcano in between.
Oh wow, that's too much of an ask. But let's see if is it possible?
Yeah, people do that. There are tours conducted there.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I've never heard of. Okay, the last one. One myth about pilots which you would like to bust. कोई ऐसी myth है जो हम
पढ़ना नहीं पड़ता.
पढ़ना पड़ता है.
पढ़ना पड़ता है.
बहुत पढ़ना पड़ता है.
पढ़ना. It's a continuous cycle in the industry, and it's part of the job. You know, it's part of the job.
Okay, great. And okay, after the rapid fire round, I have one. I won't say deep, but yeah, एक बहुत ज़रूरी question है that I have, especially for the young students, professionals, or college-going students who are watching this and trying to navigate कि कौन सा career चुने या कौन सा गलत है, सही है. Okay. So moving on, if you had to tell a 15 years old student listening to this podcast, एक 15 साल का बच्चा है या बच्ची है, so why they should consider a career in aviation? ऐसा क्या खास है इसमें जो other careers आपको offer नहीं कर सकते?
So I would say that if a 15-year-old is thinking of or aspiring to join aviation, or पहले तो I would like to point out that when I was 14 or 15 years old, I wanted to become a locomotive driver. Oh
yes, I have one section for that. How did you enter into this? But that'll be next story.
I had a very क्या बोलते हैं ambition of becoming a train driver.
Okay.
for a certain phase in my life. But coming back to aviation, so if you are aspiring to be in aviation, you should come for the adventure that it offers.
Okay. So
So a lot of people say that I have an adventurous soul. So I mean that's the primary motive for you to be in this industry. Rest everything will may or may not work in the long run.
perfect. So I get two keywords here. One is the adventure piece, and the next the freedom that you highlighted earlier. So I think I am into drones and all because of the adventure that it offers me. It's really exciting every time I touch it, every time I feel it. Okay, the next one. And since you have brought in your story, I'll really be interested to know ki how did you start this? But again, just hold on. We'll come to that question before I ask you. So अगर हमें you have been flying for almost 10 to 15 years, right?
Yeah, about 12 years.
12 years, okay. So कुछ ऐसे life lessons होंगे that flying must have taught you. Anything top 2 or top 3 that you like to give it to our audience?
So I guess the most important lesson that aviation in general teaches you is the importance of saying no to things.
Oh wow.
And I mean aviation teaches you, but that's truly applicable in every facet of life, whether personal, professional, how and when and what to say no to. That is, I would say, a very important lesson in life which I have learned because of aviation.
That's a great takeaway, learning to say no. And I know most of the people watching this struggle at this. Even I struggle at this, saying no to my friends, saying no to any opportunity. You know, it's not a practical, it's kind of an emotional no.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
I feel कि emotions वहाँ पे हमें no कहने से रोक रही होती है, and that sometimes takes us to a path that we never wanted to be in.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Perfect. So that's one. And next advice, or sorry, next life lesson that aviation teaches.
It teaches you to be consistent. So aviation is an industry which is constantly demanding, and in today's world, sometimes it can be a little overly demanding also. And you cannot meet the demands unless you are, emotionally, physically, mentally fit.
Okay.
So it constantly challenges you. I personally feel that it constantly challenges me to stay physically fit also.
Oh yeah.
So that's a life lesson which you kind of interpret out of it. So if you don't do, one of the biggest risks in aviation is your medical health.
Yeah.
So at any point of time in civil aviation, if you are not fit medically, you can be disallowed to fly.
Oh.
So that's a risk that every pilot takes, and in the optimistic sense, it can be also taken as a challenge or a life lesson of being consistent in what you do.
Okay, so I take two keywords here, or maybe three. So first is the adventure. The second is keeping track of your health and being physically fit. And I also took one life lesson as freedom. So I am taking these three, and I have one more. Yeah. And yeah, you brought in one point that I slipped from my mind, but yeah. So I take these three as life lessons from aviation, right? And yeah, I got it back. So consistency matters in terms of health, in terms of upskilling and etc. Right? Thank you so much. And the last but not the least, that is the most interesting thing that I would like to be personally getting a light on. So tell us about yourself. So how old are you, if you don't mind asking this?
I'm 35.
35, and you have around 12-13 years experience. So पहली बार you have studied like us. So पहली बार, how did you think कि इसमें जाना है? How has your journey been like?
So I actually started my career as an engineer.
Okay.
With ISRO, and I was always, I would say, I had a very good technical aptitude for things. So I decided to get into, I did my education in avionics basically.
Okay.
And my core interest was actually in electronics. So from there I went into avionics. From there I started working for ISRO. Then after a year and a half, that thought occurred to me that since I was from a military family, so I had a little idea of the kind of challenges that military aviation gives you.
Okay.
So my desire was to basically have a more challenging or adventurous life.
Okay.
And after working for a year and a half in the technical sector, I just said to myself, it's now or never. You can't do this. ये मिलिट्री एविएशन वाला काम बुढ़े होके नहीं कर सकते. जो मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ ये मैं बुढ़े होके भी कर सकता हूँ थोड़ा.
बिल्कुल.
So that was probably the trigger point which made me decide and get into naval aviation. And that is the time when I actually decided to focus on naval aviation, because Navy offers you the opportunity to fly not just in India but in a lot of other places also.
Wow, that's good.
So it can be quite adventurous. It is an adventurous life. Naval aviation is a young man's job. It becomes it is hectic for at a later age.
Okay.
Balki I would say that the attrition rate in naval aviation is almost as high as 45-50%.
Wow.
Amongst all my batchmates, only probably 50 to 60% are flying today, whether in military or in civil. So it is challenging, and it is, I think, that challenge appealed to me when I was 22 years old, and when that now or never wala attitude ke chakkar mein I ended up in naval aviation.
And I'm getting so many curious questions in my mind, so I'll hold myself with only 2 questions and we'll wrap up. Okay, so 2 more only and that'll be it. So first question, इसकी वजह से आपको बहुत traveling रहती होगी, I'm sure. Yeah. So you have to go there to do that project or fly there. So how is your family's reaction? Your parents?
They are now used to it, since my father was also in the army, and he has also traveled a lot, though not as much as me in such a short time. But I don't think it was a big deal, because they were used to that, and even if I was, let's say, in a ground job in the army or the navy, I would be staying away from home.
Yeah.
So from a family perspective, it's they just have to be adjusting to it, or more than adjusting, they have to accept it. And I did not face a problem there because I was from a similar background.
Yeah, because ये challenge मैंने देखा है, बहुत सारे बच्चे या फिर family शायद तैयार नहीं होती कि तुम्हें घर से अलग रहना है, होम सिकनेस एंड ऑल सच स्टफ.
वो तो बहुत सारी जॉब्स में होता है कि घर से अलग रहना पड़ता है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट इन एविएशन,
जस्ट द एविएशन.
a lot of jobs which require you to stay away from home.
Yeah, even if I talk about myself, मैं किसी और शहर में रहता था, then I came here, I had to be away from my family, and then so ये तो I think you are very right कि almost हर जॉब की रिक्वायरमेंट है.
Correct.
You can't be in the comfort zone of
your home.
Yeah, perfect. And almost we are at the end, and we have this last question for him. बचपन कैसा था आपका? बचपन से लेकर यहाँ.
बहुत बढ़िया. बचपन भी मेरा बहुत एडवेंचरस.
So okay, so
I have ended up changing my school 13 times in my life.
Okay, so I'll get back to you. Talk to me like a 10 years old, what you, Captain Apurva, as a 10-year-old kid wanted to do, 20 years old wanted to do, and then right now 32, what do you want to do? So let's first talk about from the 10 years old Apurva. What do you want to do?
So a 10-year-old me wanted to probably join the NBA.
Okay.
And down the line,
NBA.
Yeah,
that is a basketball, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Then 15-year-old me probably wanted to become a locomotive
train driver. And why so?
And I think when I was 13 or 14 years old, I sat in a locomotive from Jhansi to Babina once.
Okay.
And the diesel engine appealed to me quite a lot.
Oh wow.
Because generally जो diesel locomotives होते हैं उसमें the engine is, unlike in commercial cars or trucks, the engine is quite visible.
Okay. The parts
and everything.
And all,
yeah. So, and the raw power of the engine can be felt much
the
more.
Drag. Okay.
I could compare it with a helicopter in saying that कि जब आप एक helicopter में बैठते हो तो because of the vibrations and the noise, you can feel the power of the aircraft.
Yeah.
Whereas जब आप एक enclosed fixed wing में बैठते हो AC के अंदर, आपको उतना पता नहीं चलता है. Because you can't hear that sound of the engine as much, what it actually is. and the vibrations are also quite damped out in a fixed wing aircraft. The helicopter also to some extent portrays the kind of power, raw power that machine has. Diesel engines are quite similar, you know, they are very raw in their machinery, and I mean, I think that is what appealed to me when I was a young kid. So as I said, I had a lot of technical aptitude. तो शायद उस चक्कर में वो एक
ये हो
फैक्ट
गया.
था
So
जो
10 year पूर्व आ गए, 15 years आ गए, and then let's go to 20 and then the current one.
So 20 years wanted to become an engineer.
Okay.
That's how I ended up in ISRO.
Okay.
And subsequently, I decided to take that risk of, you know, changing jobs and getting into aviation. And
Let's talk about now, today. You're 32-year-old Apurva. What do you want to? What's the adventure now?
so my most recent adventure is learning kite surfing,
Okay.
which I picked up in the past year and a half. And I just recently bought my equipment.
Yeah.
About
And I heard you recently went to Dubai, especially for
yeah, especially
buying
to buy the equipment. And but this is more for leisure purpose. And I mean, I would say that's my most recent adventure for now.
Wow, wow. And that, I think that unites me and brings us together, because I am also into adventure. तो मुझे लगता है मैं ये आपसे सीखने वाला हूँ कुछ टाइम में. So thank you so much everybody for being glued to, and we are going to wrap this up. But don't worry, we have lot many things to offer on aerodynamics and drones. And let's see Apurva sir हमें दोबारा कब time देता है. So thank you so much Apurva sir
Thank you.
for giving your time and such valuable insights. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you so very much. Hope to see you again. Bye bye. Thank you.